What's up everyone, how are you doing today? It's Anger Roleplay, and today I want to talk a bit about this new support gems in Path of Exile beta, which is coming in the fall of Oriath. And these gems were released yesterday by Grinding Games. And basically I want to discuss and check these gems, what is happening with them. First of all, there's Vile Toxin support. Look at this. Supported skills deal 20% increased damage with poison. And supported skills deal 5% more damage with hits for each poison on the enemy, up to 6. So it's about a 30 more. Supported skills deal 30% more poison damage. So basically this is more multiplier with poison. And you know, there was a big deal with double dipping in the current patch, the Legacy. And this is the reason why all these support gems are coming out. Basically, what is double dipping right now? Double dipping is when different affixes like the poison and ignite and bleed, it basically doubles the damage of your attacks. It kind of poisons the enemies, and then it calculates more damage on top of it. So kind of double dips. And double dipping will be removed completely in the fall of the Oriath. Grinding Games learns their lessons pretty fast. And to kind of compensate that loss of damage, they decided to release the separate gems that would kind of add the same amount of damage that it was with double dipping, but double dipping was an inappropriate way to play some builds. But with these gems, you can just kind of build the same amount of firepower, but in a proper way. So this is like the first gems that are coming out. This to build the same level of firepower with poison, bleed, and all of this shit. So this is basically the poison gem out there. Look at this, decay support. Supported skills deal 10% increased chaos damage, and supported skills inflict decay, dealing chaos damage per second for 10 seconds. That's pretty cool. That's damage over time. And it's a very fucking strong one. Look at this. I mean, chaos damage can be scaled pretty insanely with this. There are pretty much very strong chaos damage builds out there, like the Bladefall build, and there's also Crazy Sword that does tremendous amount of chaos damage. So this is a chaos damage gem. That's very interesting. I wanted to play the Bladefall witch crit assassin, or maybe the assassin, or maybe the witch with the Bladefall chaos, and it's very interesting, it's very strong, it's very cool gameplay. Deadly ailment support. Supported skills deal 50% more damage with ailments. Supported skills deals 30% less damage with hits. Supported skills deal 10% increased damage over time. So what is ailment? Ailment, it is special kind of top, special buff, and it's a separate effect on top of normal damage. It's like a crit. Your special ailments are ignites, shock, freeze, and all of that shit. And it can only happen if you specifically has chance to ignite or chance to freeze on your gear or on your skill tree. And also it happens when you do a critical strike. When you do a critical strike with some lightning spell, for example, it has a chance to inflict shock on the enemy. And shocked enemy takes tremendous amount of damage. So basically this, if there is a heavy ailment build out there, heavy on ignite or heavy on shock or heavy on freeze or something like this gem, supported skill gem, deal 50% more damage with ailments. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. I mean, 50% more damage with ignite, or the burning damage, the shock damage, or the freeze damage is pretty massive in my opinion. Lesser poison. Supported skills deal 10% increased damage with poison. Supported skills have 25% chance to poison on hit. That's crazy, and adds chaos damage as well. That's a very, very cool gem in my opinion. There are items in the game that has a chance to inflict poison or bleeding, and generally speaking, such items are extremely, you know, extremely expensive in general, especially for me on the solo self-found. You know, I cannot buy a serious disfavor which causes fucking bleeding because it's costs a fucking fortune. And right now you could just, you know, get this gem, use it, and just poison whatever enemies you want. And look at this, chance to bleed support. Supported attacks deal physical damage with weapons. Supported attacks deal 10% increased damage with bleeding and 25% chance to cause bleeding. This is fucking massive. And this is very impressive in my opinion. This is basically, you know, you don't need all this insane gear that causes the bleeding. It is very expensive gear, and there are some low-level weapons out there that causes bleeding. But in general, the bleed gear is very expensive in general. So this is like the cheap version of bleed support, and it's a very high chance to bleed. It basically, you know, you will bleed every enemy out there. That's very cool. I really like this. Ignite proliferation support. Ignites causes by supported skills spread to other enemies in radius of 14. Holy shit, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, guys. That's massive fucking AoE of Ignite out there. This can be massive. This can be massive. Efficiency support. Supported skills deal 10% more spell damage, 50% more damage over time, 10% increased damage over time, increased skill effect duration. That's very cool. That's basically, you know, spell damage oriented with damage over time. This is more multipliers for spell oriented, for spells, and for damage over time skills. It's very cool. Unbound ailments. Supported skills have 40% increased duration of ailments on enemies. Holy shit. Supported skills have 20% increased air effects on ailments. So this is pretty crazy for this is crazy, man. 40% increased duration of burning damage or for shock. That's ridiculous. Immolate. Supported skills deal 10% increased fire damage. Skills deals fire damage against burning enemies. That's pretty interesting. So it's kind of burning fire damage on top of fire and burning enemies. That's pretty crazy. That's fire damage on top of already ignited enemies. That's pretty crazy, but I think that's a bit of an overkill. You know, what's the difference between just the added fire gem out there? Brutality. Supported skills deal 35% more physical damage, no elemental damage, and deal 10% increased physical damage. So this is just another physical damage buff. This is pretty lazy in my opinion. I mean, how much will it scale? Will it scale to like 60-70% more physical damage? Then it might be good for a pure physical damage. But I think that it's a bit of a lame, you know, a cheap gem, cheap buff gem. Main support. Supported skills deal 10% physical damage, 30% chance to maim on hit. Supported skills deal 10% increase physical damage. Main by support skills at 20% increase. So this is but just more physical damage out there. Another physical damage. So these two gems are just plain physical buffs here. This is chance to bleed. This is one of the most craziest gems so far. This is the poison, chance to poison. No, this is not, yeah. This is chance to poison. This is the damage over time. Crazy amount of chaos damage. This is a ridiculous amount of ailments damage here. Chance to bleed, ignites. Spell damage and damage over time. Increased duration, crazy. So I think that these gems fixes a couple of issues. First of all, they give, you know, they remove double dipping, but they add the ability to inflict the same amount of damage with the gems instead of double dipping and different kind of stupid things going on. Secondary, it really buffs the ailments. The ailments has also been reworked pretty hard, but this shit here increases the ailments pretty insane. I mean, it increases duration and damage of the ailments as well. Also, there are two straightforward physical damage support gems, and which is really pretty cool. I mean, the melee builds are kind of not very powerful in my opinion in this game. So melee kind of lacks survival ability and firepower in the end, unless you will be playing some crazy shit like Pathfinder Cyclone or something like this. So in the end, I think that these are very cool gems and I'm really looking forward. I think that especially with damage over time skills, it will be very interesting how these things play. I will be playing more maybe the Bladefall Chaos build or something like this. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you soon.